Welcome to this psychophilosophical spoken word internet series, Inalienable Paradise. This is aimed to providing stories and tactics to help people, even in the most traumatic and inescapable of circumstances, to help people with things universally accessible overcome such circumstances or feelings of terror, worthlessness, and helplessness. We hope we will provide the help that so many people need, and that you will find at least some value in this. Thank you. Friends, thinkers, wanderers of the mind, welcome back. This is Inalienable Paradise. Thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure to do this, to sit with this, to think through it together. I have been considering a simple but a slightly uncomfortable, thought-provoking question. How do we know what is truly wonderful in life? The question is obviously not new. Philosophers, poets, artists, clerics, mystics, scientists have tried to answer it for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Some say it is love, some say it is beauty, some say it is meaning. But if we set aside assumptions, if we refuse to take inherited wisdom at face value, how do we find the answer for ourselves? Perhaps the most reliable way is not to ask what is most wonderful, but to ask what is most painful in its absence. To talk about its significance, one first has to understand its place in the structure of human experience. We do not recognize light except in contrast to darkness. We do not appreciate silence until we have known unbearable noise. And so, perhaps the truest way to measure the value of something is not by its presence, but by the suffering that follows when it is gone. Consider love and connection. We know today that chronic loneliness affects the body in ways comparable to physical starvation. MRI scans show that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Prolonged isolation is not merely a psychological burden. It is, in an extended duration, a terminal condition. If absence defines importance, then love, connection itself, must be among the highest human needs. Consider freedom. We know that when people are stripped of autonomy, when choice is removed, something essential is lost. Viktor Frankl, writing from the ruins of a concentration camp, observed that the final human freedom, the one no captor can take away, is the ability to choose one's response to suffering, and yet even that freedom can slip away. Prolonged restriction, whether by oppression or by slow erosion of agency in modern life, does not merely limit action, it limits being. Without freedom, people do not simply live in a smaller world, they become smaller within themselves. Consider health. The absence of strength, mobility, and vitality teaches us, often too late, that we built our lives on the assumption that the body will always obey. But bodies break, they wither, and when they do, everything that once seemed trivial, standing, moving, breathing, becomes everything. I remember when I was watching a podcast with Jim Quick, the brain coach, world-renowned brain coach, said it very simply: when you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. when you don't have your health, you have one dream, and that's to improve your health. Consider purpose. We know today that meaning is not a luxury. It is not an indulgence. The absence of meaning creates a vacuum in which nothing can grow. Depression, nihilism, misanthropy, existential dread. These are not abstractions. They are symptoms of the absence of meaning. When people lose a sense of why they do what they do, it is not merely a matter of boredom. It is a slow unraveling and rot of the self. One might ask, if the most precious things are only seen clearly in loss, does that mean we must lose them to understand their value? We have asked this question for a long time as well, but maybe not as widely, I don't think. The Stoics answered with premeditatio malorum, the practice of imagining loss before it occurs, so that gratitude is not an afterthought, but a habit. Buddhists answered with anicca, the recognition that all things are impermanent and should be appreciated in the moment, not in hindsight, not through a lens of rose-tinted shades. Perhaps our real task is not merely to endure absence, but to also let it instruct us. Perhaps to train ourselves to recognize what is irreplaceable before it disappears. This is why literature, music, and philosophy return to the theme again and again. The Odyssey is not about home. It is about exile. The Inferno is not about sin. It is about separation from grace. The great blues traditions, the fado singers of Portugal, the ghazal poets of Persia, they all say the same thing. Absence reveals everything. And so, we return to our original question, what is truly universally wonderful in life? Let's hope the answer is not too abstract, not a matter of theory or speculation. It is already known, already felt, in every moment of longing, in every sharp pain of something missing. The most wonderful things in life are not the ones we chase. They are the ones we cannot bear to lose. And perhaps, if we listen closely to what absence is telling us, we will learn to cherish them before they are gone. Thank you.